So if we recollect yesterday's session, yesterday we have been seen how to import the data for journals. First, we have seen how to create a journal from UI application. Then after, we'll try to replicate the same by using everyday template. We have used two sources like AX invent and AX payables. And for those two sources, just we have submitted load interface file for import followed by the two parameters, so that it will submit the transfer file. Then after, it will submit the load file interface for each interface table. So as of now, we do have one interface table, which is GL interface. The reason we could see only one ESH job, which is load file to interface, right? So once the data is successfully pushed to your interface table, there is a standard ESH job, which is import journals. For that, we do have set of parameters like data access set and ledger. So when you select these two combinations, for these two combinations, if any data is available against our interface tables, then group ID and the ledger will be populated, so that you can select your own group ID and to push the data to the base table. Okay. So yesterday we have whichever we processed two sources for AX payables and AX inventory. Those are both are successfully created journals through UI, through a BDI template. Nothing but those are positive scenarios. Now today we'll see the negative scenarios. Negative scenarios is most important. We'll try to fail you a couple of resources, and we'll see how to reprocess those with an purge table, purge ESH job concept, and the ADF template concept. We can cover these two concepts. Okay. Did anyone write yesterday's session? Everyday process? Anyone got any issues? You guys practice anyone? No? Okay, so this is our data. Now, what we'll do, this is AX inventory. We'll keep the same data and we'll try to fail you AX payables data. Here you can pass something US currency and invalid currency here. Just I'm trying to pass an invalid currency for one of the source AX payables. And you can pass something, invalid segment codes. Okay. Invalid segment codes. I'm trying to pass invalid currency code and trying to pass, invalid segment values. So this is the negative scenario. Now we'll try to upload the same file to the application. Now you can change to here interface group identifier. If you want to keep remain the same, just keep the remain same, nothing, there is no impact. Since already this data is successfully deleted from your interface table, there is no data against your 5001 group ID. If the data is still available, this is become an issue. Okay. As of now, the data is successfully deleted. Just you keep the same interface group identifier 5001, nothing. There is no issues. Try to generate the CSV file. CSV file is not opening. CSV file. Something sheet is not open, not working as expected. So this is GL interface.zip file successfully generated. Just cross verify the data. If something is missed here, you may verify the data here. You're getting a lot of background disturbance here. Okay, now we'll try to submit the load interface file for import. Sorry, I'm searching for import journals here. I'm searching for load interface file for input within the load interface file. We need to search for which ESA job we need to search here for load interface file for import. Anyone? Which ESA job we need to search here? This is the load interface file for import, right? So import process, which one we need to select here?
Journal import.
Import journals.
Import journals. We have 20 members here. No one is, in attention. Is everyone following the session? Or just you are keep on the session? Background, you are hearing the session. So I'm submitting load interface file for import. So it will insert the data into our GL interface table. Okay. Once it is successfully submitted, we'll try to submit the main import process, which is import journals. So this is succeeded. Now you can submit import journals followed by two sources. Click on OK. So before that, just we'll try to connect the table. New the data model. Just write a select star from GL interface where group ID is, which is 5001, so that you are able to see your own data. And something and where ID, which is 5001. So this is our data. Now we'll try to submit. This is AX inventory and AX payable. This is AX inventory is the correct source. AX payables is a failure source. We'll try to submit the first AX inventory so that data will goes to your base table. Inventory. This is 5001. Just try to submit the process. So it will submit import journal child ESA job. The child ESA job itself contains the complete statistics of this run. Okay, you can find all your statistics like how many records are there, how many records are failure. The information you can find here. This is import journal child is successfully completed. Just you can verify your data here. Now you can see the data for only AX payables, which is the failure data. Now we'll try to submit the AX payables import process here. We'll see how it looks like. AX payables. The group ID is something 5001. Just try to submit. Now it's in a warning status. Now, if you see, this is a warning status. Since we are first invalid data here, invalid data we are populated, just try to select the ESA job and select the text file here, which is log file. You can see the information here where it is failing. So on so information you can find. There are flex errors 3, total lines 4, total batch 1, and total errors 1, and the group ID 5001, and the status is overall status in error status. If you see the error information here, this is error code, source, accounting date, currency, the debit amount, credit amount, the accounting information. If you see EF04 for the line enter debit 300. For the source AX payables, there is a line which is 300 is there. For that line, there is a EF04 error is there. So what is the EF04 error? EF04 errors is nothing but here you can see these are the period error codes. You can see here EF04. This is EF04. The account is invalid. Check your cross validation rules and segment values. The account is invalid. Check your cross validation rules and segment values. So this is something issue with your 120. So how will you know exactly EF04? If you see here, there are invalid accounts. Those invalid accounts are 10, 120, 000000. Flex value does not exist for the segment department. The value set is XXX test department and the value is 120. It is very clearly saying for a segment which is department, for a value set XXX department, 120 values not exist. The same way for a segment company, for a value set XXX test company, values 30 does not exist for this combination. Simply, these values are not exist in your value set. So how will you verify, how will you cross verify these value sets, whether these values are really exist or not? Anyone? How will you cross verify whether these values are really exist or not?
Manage chart of account structure.
Yeah, exactly. Great. Just you can navigate to manage chart of accounts. Search with your ledger so that you can open the value sets against each segment. Then the value set you can verify whether this values exist or not. Okay. This is for EF04, EC08, so and so. EF04 and something EC08, EC03, something. If you see here EC08, EC03. EC08, there are invalid currencies. Invalid currencies, EC03, currency conversion type and account must be supplied when enter foreign currency journal lines. Now the system, now the everyday process identified 2 errors. It is an invalid currency, or if it is a cross currency, you need to provide a cross currency details, conversion details. It's trying to raise 2 possible errors here, either invalid currency or the currency conversion rate types are you need to populate. Simply, we know this is an invalid currency. Now, if you refresh your data against your table, now the status is new here for a fresh records. For a very first time records, you can see status as new. Now, if you see for 4 records, only 1 record which is status is P. P is nothing but this is processed, nothing but indirectly this is validated. But this record won't go to your interface or your base table. You need to correct all your the data against your source, and the source data will goes to your base table as a batch. It never partially import your source data. It never import partial data for your source data if any partial validations are success. The last record is partial validation is success. Still, this record remains in your interface table, and the status you can see as a process. The rest of you can see the statuses here. EF04, so on, so on, so the same information we can able to see our log file, right? Now, how will you reprocess this data? Now, this is the error status, right? Now, how will you reprocess the data? So, in order to reprocess the data, just copy your load request ID here to purge the data. First, we'll see the purge criteria. This is my load request ID. Copy the load request ID and try to delete all your deleted data. Sorry, error data. Interface table, purge interface tables. Just click on OK. And here you can search with the import process, which is our import journals. These load interface files are import and these purge interface tables. This import process will take more time in order to open the MOV. Import journals. This is my process name. And when you select the process name, here you can see the load request ID parameter could be enabled here. Here, enable load request ID ranges. As of now, I have one request ID. Just you can hardcode your load request ID. Just try to submit the process. So it will try to delete the data from your interface table against this load request ID. This is running. Just you can view the data here. Still data is there. Now this is got succeeded. Now you can refresh your data. Now your interface table become empty against your group ID. Okay, against your group ID, your interface table is become empty. So now it's time to reprocess the data. It's time to reprocess the data. So how will you reprocess the data? Now let's assume you have shared this information to the client. You have shared this information to the client or your functional source. This is the errors for this source for AX payables. We encounter these many errors like invalid currencies and invalid accounts. So let's assume client updated the data like this, and this is 000, and this is 000, this is 10, and this is 10. Client is updating data like this, and he will provide all the information with you along with your success data. Let's assume you have 10 sources of data is available in this sheet. Against 5 sources are error status, 5 sources are in success status. Client will not take care and client will not bother about success data against your sheet. He will only focus on your failure data and he will correct the data and he will provide all the data again with you. All the data again with you. You also do not take a hectic or take a headache to delete your success data from this sheet. Keep the data remains same. Just whichever data is client is provided with all your data along with success and failure data, which is corrected data. Again, try to process the same as for a reprocess. Just generate CSV file. On the save. My system was very slow. Yeah. Now this is generated as zip file. Just try to application. Just try to dump the data to the same as load interface file for import. Here, import journals. This is import journals. And the data file you can select. Go new file. Choose the file. And this is my zip file. Just click on OK. So that your data will go to your interface table for the same group ID. Now this is succeeded. Just try to refresh your table again. Now you can see all the data here. Now in this data, already we have successfully processed AX inventory data. Okay. So do not focus on your success data. Just whichever failure sources are there, you need to submit the import process for only failure sources. If you try to submit the AX inventory again for import journals, it will create a negative journals for you. The amount becomes 0. Do remember this. It will create the journals. It won't throw any errors for success data. Again, it will accept the data, but it will create a different batch with a negative amounts, which is journal is plus and minus becomes 0. Okay. So always do remember for the reprocess, you can submit import journals for only failure sources. Always you need to maintain your statistics in one of the Excel sheet. In the real time, you can get n number of sources data. As of now, we can see 2 sources, right? In the real time, if you get any 20 sources data, or if you can get a 10 sources data, it's not to remember easily, right? Always you can maintain an Excel sheet. The Excel sheet for each iteration, if you have 10 sources, nothing but you need to submit the import journals for 10 times, right? For the 10 times, you need to maintain the statistics in one of the Excel sheet, and you can mark the status as success or failure. The second time, whichever failure sources are there, you need to re-import the data for only failure sources. Okay. Now import journals. Just click on OK. Now our failure source is AX payables. This is AX payable. For this combination, it will verify if data is available. Simply you can get the data. Now this is 5001 is our data. Just try to submit the import journals. So this is got succeeded. Now you can refresh your table. Now X tables data got successfully deleted from your interface table. Now your success source data is there still in your remains table. So what is the next step? Anyone guess? So what will do this data for the next step? Already this data got processed, right?
Project.
Yeah, simply you need to purge this data from your interface table. The way you can purge your data, do not delete the data from your Excel sheet. Since in real time you will get lakhs of records. We don't know, we cannot predict which data is we are deleting from your Excel sheet. To avoid, just avoid the deletion from your Excel sheet, blindly dump all the data into your interface table. Whichever failures data is there, simply you can process the failure data. The rest of data you can immediately purge from your interface table. This is my schedule process. If you forget this step, if someone is submitted with his group ID, again data will goes to the interface table. Immediately you need to post the data. Do remember this step. Purge interface tables. Import journals. This is import journals. And the load requested is this one. Just try to submit the same. So once data is deleted from your interface table, your process wise, you are done with your import journals against your spreadsheet. Whichever data is provided with the client, when you successfully done with the reprocess, all the data is successfully, pushed to your base tables. Now the client will validate your data. Client will run the reconciliation reports. If the data looks good, they will post the data they will post all the data for the balancing purpose. There, if any issues will face, they will encounter with these issues with an everyday process. Nothing but simply we are not doing anything, right? They are, if issue with any data, whichever they are provided data. Now this is deleted. Now see the table is become empty. So this is how you can perform the reprocess from your entire Excel sheet to sources. Okay. Now we'll try to failure X inventory data with the invalid currency, something US, there is 40 and 40 something. To make an invalid currency for X inventory and segment 1, which is the 40 invalid segment values. Okay, we'll try to again iterate one more step. We need to correct the data from your ADF-BS spreadsheet data instead of purge interface tables. Okay. This is GP10. Try to save it. Now submit the load interface file for import. interface. And this is import journals. Okay. For this, what we'll do, for this, we'll try to upload the file to the UCM account as a manual step. That is, I will show you how to upload the file to the UCM. Already we have seen this UCM account, right, against your OER, against everyday process, financial, import and export and import. So for our case, import is our UCM path. By default, this load interface file for import will transfer the file to the your UCM location with help of an ESS job transfer file. Now you can see the data file here. Here, instead of uploading new file, here you can see a couple of files are available here. So why we are able to see the files is nothing but these files are uploaded in your UCM as a manual process. Now we'll try to upload the file to the UCM, which is manual process. Just try to cancel it. Here, just go to the navigator. More. So here file export and import you can see here from tools. Yeah, and from the tools you can find file import and export. Just click on the file import and export. There Oracle is provided a provision for us if you want to push the file to the UCM as a manual process. Okay. Now here this is just click on the new, select your UCM account, choose the file, just generate the zip file. Before 19C, this is a mandatory step for us. First, you need to upload the file to the UCM. Then only you can select the file from your load interface file for it. After 19C version, what Oracle did, Oracle is enabled upload a new file or hyperlink from the parameter itself. So no need to upload the file as explicitly into your UCM. Okay. So this is my file. So for our understanding purpose, just try to rename our file name. So always do remember your zip file name could be anything, but inside the CSV file name should be same as your standard. Do not change inside the file name, but the zip file name you can change as per your wish. Something Jupyter. Now your UCM account is general ledger import. This is finance general ledger import. This is the UCM account. So how will you get an UCM account against your OER everyday process? Just try to save and close. Now this file will be uploaded to your UCM account. Okay. Now the process ID is become blank here. When you use this file for load interface file for import, then process ID can be populated here. Okay. Now open one more session. Now try to submit the load interface file for import and select this file as a manual process. In the real time also you can see the errors like invalid currencies, invalid segment values, And there is a cross validation rules and or enable cross validation rules. I will show you how you can find cross validation rules and the period close, invalid period close. These are the possible errors in real time you can see. Other than this, you cannot see any errors. Tools, and this is schedule process. Schedule new process. And this is load interface file for import. Search with import journals. This is import journals. Now you can see the data file here. This is GL interface gp10.zip file. This is your GL file, generated zip file. Select this file and submit the process. Simply, it will pick the file from UCM server and process the same. So when you automate the process through voice integrations, sometimes we may, push the file to the UCM server and get the content ID and use that content ID to your this parameter value. Now you can find this value in the UCM server, hopefully. Search with EBV and this is content server. Nothing but your UCM. Just click on the search. Here, this is GL interface gp10.zip. These are earlier files, whichever we uploaded, GL interface by test user 1. By default, system will upload your file to your UCM. This is manually we are uploading to the UCM, GL interface gp10.zip file. Now this is became succeeded. Okay. Now it's time to submit the import journals. Click on OK and try to submit eggs inventory. Our group ID is 5001 and try to submit the process. So here we do have a couple of errors are there for this source. So will you correct these errors by using correct import errors? There is a spreadsheet is available that is called ADFDI macro enabled spreadsheet. The spreadsheet itself connect to the SaaS application. Spreadsheet itself will connect to the SaaS application. Now there's a warning status. Just now here, this is a process to become blank, right? Just try to search the same. Now you can see the load request ID will be populated here. For the next time, when you submit the load interface file for import, this file won't be picked since this file is already being used by another ESA job. When the process ID is blank, those files only you can see in your parameter LOB. Okay, now this is process ID is populated. Something 452304 is your load request ID. This is your 042 is load request ID. Okay, now just connect to the application from general accounting, and from there you can download your ADF BA sheet. This is general accounting and this is journals. And here there is a journal import section is there. Here you can find three options: import journals, correct import errors, delete import data. You can delete import data through delete import data here also, and you can delete the data by using import journals here also. Now just click on the correct import errors. See these rest of two options. Once this is done, some time to enable to open this sheet here. I don't know, my system is slow or internet is slow. This is general import corrections spreadsheet is opening, which is ADF BA sheet. Just click on enable editing. So open multiple sheets here. So this is our sheet. Now this is sheet corrupted here. It will try to open a prompt for us. This prompt itself will connect your SaaS application when you are trying to enter SaaS application username and the password. It will prompt to enter username and the password for our application, so that it will connect to our application. There you can see journal corrections related plugins. Yeah, now you are able to connect to the following application URL EBV test. Just try to click on the yes. Now you can enter your username and password here. It's taking more time to connect. In general, it won't take any time. Immediately, it will pop up our PDF DS sheet plugin screen. I guess there is issue with my system only. Okay, this is not opening. Let's close for today. We'll see this in the next session. There is something my system issue. It's not responding anything. So any doubts, any clarification for the reprocess? Reprocess and correcting the errors. Any doubts, any